Hi, this is Sally, and welcome back to Heart of a Soul. So, for all of you that are still with me, I thank you for your love and support. And I know that I was gone for the last few weeks because when I first started all this, I was doing a lot. I started the YouTube channel. I had some other things going on in my life. I was studying for my certificates, doing distance learning with my kids. And so for the first few months, things were progressing along, but then some other things came up where I tried to push through some of them, and it came to a point where I actually had to stop and reevaluate everything that I was doing, except for the YouTube channel and my kids. I knew that distance learning isn't going anywhere, and I knew this is my service that God has called me to do. So I knew that I was going to be back. But I'm glad I took some time for myself to rethink some things, work on myself, and in the process, I had some conversations with some people, and which, like all my other topics, that's how it came about. So, and also the reason why I'm sitting in my car is because I have my kids with me a few extra days this week, and my 8-year-old is stuck on me like glue. I don't know what got into him over the last month or two. He's just like so in love with me, and I love it because I need it in my life right now, and I have to hide from him, and I'm laughing because I had to yell at him right now to get in the house because he wants to play in the rain. So anyways, and I mentioned that because that's also what the topic is going to be about. It's about the type of parent that we are. And to me, this is a really important topic, and I hold it near and dear to my heart, because if it wasn't for my kids, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. 9 years ago, when I made a choice to just want to be a better person, it was because of my kids. My 2-year-old was pulling her hair out, and I had a panic attack when I was pregnant with my youngest son. And those two incidents happened within a year of each other, and I just knew I did not want that for my kids. So, and I don't hesitate to tell anybody that my oldest son saved me. I was 16 when I got pregnant, had him when I was 17, and I was just all over the place. I had no direction. I wasn't doing anything with myself. I wasn't going to school. I was getting drunk, getting high. I was just in a really bad place at that time. And he saved me. It took me a while still to get my shit together. I don't know, 12 more years I messed around. But but I always had him in my mind, so I knew that it kept me from doing a lot of other stupid shit. So that's why I say that he saved me. And so I had him and my second son already when these other things started happening with my other children, with my two youngest children. And I was around the age of 30. But I knew for 4 main reasons, all 4 of my children, they were the reason I needed to change. And and also I mentioned before that I had read an article about a mother whose daughter called her a bully because she was always rushing her. Hurry up, get in the car. Hurry up and eat. Hurry up and put your shoes on. Hurry up and put your jacket on. And that was the type of mother that I was. And so I knew that if there was, I don't know how I knew this, but I knew that if anything in my life was going to change, it was going to have to change with myself. So over the last 9 years, I mean, I'm still working on myself. It started with how I responded to my children, which helped me to learn how to respond to other people, and be grateful for my kids because they were happy and healthy and funny, and they always brought joy into my life without even really trying, just being in their presence and their innocence. And so as the years went by, I realized I was learning a lot from them about how to just enjoy life and how to love things unconditionally. And I really made it a part of who I was to always listen to them, because they're the next generation. They're the ones that are gonna, run this shit in the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years to come. And I need to know what's going on. I don't watch the news. I talk to my kids. They're the ones that are going to know what's going on. And they're the ones that, I need to keep up with them. So, and I also need to, and so when they would come to me, even my oldest son, no topic was off the table. We talked about everything. I started talking to him about sex and girls when he was 9 years old. And my mom, she just could not understand why. And so now he's 21, going on 22, very self-sufficient, takes care of himself, lives by himself, goes to college in his last year of college, and he calls me for everything. He still calls me for advice. Everything from DMV registration to girls, and she heard me talking to him one day, and when I got off the phone, she says, "You guys are funny because you tell your son everything." And I was like, "Of course I tell my son everything, because he tells me everything." And I always made sure that I didn't judge him for the way that he felt. If he expressed himself to me, he had more than enough right to feel the way that he felt about a situation, because his perspective is different than mine. And who am I to tell him that he doesn't feel a certain way about a situation, because he's feeling it from where he's at, whether that be 13, 14, 15, 20, 21 years old. He is who he is, and maybe I know better, and maybe I felt like that one day when I was his age, and maybe I worked through it and I feel better. I feel different about it now. That doesn't mean he does. That he's expressing himself from where he's at, from his age, from his experiences. So I always tried to make sure that I didn't judge him. So my kids are good. They're good kids. They could be jerks sometimes, but they're not real assholes, like some kids could be. And they're really well behaved. And I've always gotten compliments on how well behaved my kids are. And it's really because I allow them to be themselves, allow them to express themselves. I told my kids they could start cussing when they're 13, as long as they don't cuss at me, just because and there's a time and a place for it. And I do that because it's just a form of expression. I cuss. I believe in God. I hold him near and dear to my heart, but I cuss. It's a form of expression. I'm passionate about who I am and what I do. And so something that I've learned early on was just to acknowledge my kids' feelings. Acknowledge their feelings, and especially with my oldest son. He's super emotional. And when he was younger and I didn't understand these things, it was like, fuck, he's a crybaby. He cries about everything. And as he got older and I started listening to him more and allowing him to express himself and not judging him and supporting him with everything that he did, I understood why. He's sensitive. And now that I'm more into my spirituality, I understand that he's more in touch with his feminine energy, which everybody has, a feminine and a masculine energy. unfortunately, society has made it gender specific, and masculine is a male thing and feminine is a female thing. But the truth of the matter is that we all have both. It's an energy. It's how we feel about ourselves. It's how we respond to things, and there's nothing wrong with it. So back to my son, realizing that he's just a sensitive person, and allowing him to express himself like that. He didn't have to grow up feeling so closed in, like he couldn't express himself, like he was too afraid to tell me how he really felt about something. And now he tells me everything. And I love the fact that I have that relationship with my son. It's a beautiful fucking thing. And I'm really trying to do that with my other children. And time will only tell. But don't get me wrong, I've had my problems with them. When my son was growing up, like I said, I supported him and I tried to understand him the best that I could. When he was 5, he wanted to dig up dinosaurs. When he was 7, he wanted to be an astronaut. When he was 9, he wanted to play football, so we put him in football. I supported him in everything that I do, and I tried to support him in everything that he did. And then when he was 13, he made the decision that he wanted to go live with his father, which broke my heart. It broke my heart because I felt like I did everything for that kid. But I had to let him make that decision for himself. As much as I hated the idea, I knew that he was becoming a young man. He was going to have to start making decisions for himself. And that was one of the first big ones. And I had to let him. He came back just before his senior year of high school. And I knew that he was going to be back because his dad is just super difficult. He was not a nice guy. But like I said, he wasn't in an immediate danger. So I knew that was just something that he had to figure out for himself. And he did. And then when he went to move to college, he got up, he packed his stuff, he went and moved to the dorms. And I expressed to him that I didn't think it was a good idea because it was a lot for him have just starting college. And again, he had to figure that out for himself. And he came back, reevaluated his situation. He was back for maybe a semester or two. And then once he, had a better idea of how life really works out there, he went back out and he did it. And he hasn't been back since. And I'm very proud of him. But our kids, they come to, and I didn't want to control them. I wish that when I was younger, my parents encouraged me to go for my dreams, go for what made me happy, go for, the things that I was good at that just came natural, because I feel like if you enjoy what you do, it never feels like work. And so that's something that I'm really trying to practice with my other kids. And I really feel like that's why he made the decision that he's made. He's a really good kid. He, and this is things that I learned along the way. And going back to my other children, when they were younger and I started to change myself, I didn't, just because in my head I thought, oh, I'm going to change my attitude, I'm going to change my personality, I'm going to try to be a better mother. It took months of me just catching myself in the moment, and saying, do I have to yell at them? Do I have to spank them? Do I have to react a certain way? And just those 2-3 seconds where I took to ask myself these questions before I responded really started to make the difference in the way that I felt when I was, dealing with my children, when they were, running amok all over the house. But it didn't make a noticeable change in them for at least 8 to 10 months, because they had to adjust to my changes, even though I knew what I was doing. And that I was trying. It's not like I was yelling at them, and it's not like they knew that. They didn't know that I was trying. So, but because they're kids and they're a lot more receptive and non-resistant, I think that's why it was easier for them to see it, because with my older son, even well into, I don't know, like 19, he went off on me about how I did this and how I did that, and I let him express himself. And the next day when we talked about it, I told him I'm sorry that that I made him feel that way when he was growing up, but I was only doing the best that I can from where I was at that point. And I had to remind him that I had came a long way, and he had to give me a little bit of credit. And he does now. He does now. And, that really says a lot. And that makes me feel better about myself, because it feels like if I could do that with him, hopefully I could get through with my other kids. Like I said, only time will tell. But I think it's really important to always acknowledge your children, and like I said, they're our future. We could learn a lot from them. They're the ones that are talking about the things that are pushing us into the next generation. And and I never wanted to make them feel like their ideas weren't good enough, like they couldn't do anything. My son, my 8-year-old, walks around the house for the last, I don't know, 2 years, 3 years, singing country songs, and it gets on my daughter's nerves. And I tell her that when he becomes a famous country singer, don't ask him for tickets. And I just really encourage them to be who they are and what they are, no matter what that is. And as they grow older, it's going to change a little bit, because then you got to start letting them make their own decisions and start letting them step out into the world and that's a hard thing, because we feel like we always want to protect our children. But I think that does more damage than anything, because you're not letting them have the experiences that they need outside of the home to shape them and prepare them for what the world really is like. You can only hope that you gave them enough words of wisdom, enough encouragement, enough support, that they're going to go out and make good decisions. And when they don't, you gotta, then you step in and you check them and, do what you have to do as a parent. But that's really what I have experienced as far as the type of parent that I have. And there is a Dr. Shefali. She is part of Mind Valley, and she has a program called Conscious Parenting, and I've been listening to as much as I can. You can follow her on YouTube. I believe it's Dr. Shefali, Shefila, something like that. Anyways, really pretty Indian lady, light green eyes. I'm sure you'll find her. But I love to watch her videos, because her story was similar to mine. Her kid was running amok one day, and he said something to her that just caught her attention, like, hey, these are people too. They have emotions and needs, and when they're younger, they depend on us for that, to fulfill that. And I'm not saying like bow down to your children or anything like that, but I give my kids so much credit for making me the woman that I am today. And I would never resent them for that. Even after Miles made the choice to move out with his dad, when he came back, I never did anything different. Even while he was gone, I still supported him. I still talked to him. I still made him feel like he was part of our family and made it important. And I didn't take back anything that he did. That's like me saying, you made me a better parent, and because you made the choice that you made, I'm mad at you now. That doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to forever be grateful for my children for making me the woman that I am and making me want to be a better mother every day. And I hope that you guys find it in your heart to do the same for your children. Appreciate them, whether they know it or not. My kids don't have to know it. I don't tell them every day, thank you for making me a better mother. They're just like, whatever, I'm hungry, you know. I know it in my heart. And now that Miles is older and he gets it now, he knows that. And he even asked, why did you let me go move with my dad? And it was like, I had to let you figure it out for yourself, you know. I didn't want him to go, but I never resented him for that. I never held it against him. And I wouldn't do that with any of my other kids. I love them unconditionally. And that's really what all of this comes down to. Unconditional love. Unconditional love for yourself, for wanting to be a better person and making the hard choices and making the tough decisions to just push past it and forgetting what my parents taught me. That was one of the hardest things, especially because I've lived with my mom for so long and she doesn't understand why I do what I do, because I'm not her. And nothing against my mom. I love her. She did the best she could from where she was at. But I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to grow up and have my children feel the way that I felt. So I took a chance and I made a difference. And with my oldest son, I see it. With my other kids, I'd like to think I see it. But, you know, they're not even teenagers yet, so we'll see. But that's what I have for you guys today, and I hope that this resonates with you. If not, please share it. Maybe there's somebody else that needs to hear it. But again, everything really just comes down to unconditional love. Unconditional love for yourself, unconditional love for your children, unconditional love for the rest of the world, because you may not know it now, but we're all connected, and we really need to be here to help and love and support each other. So I hope that I see you guys on the next video. Stay warm and dry.